because when I opened up the next window, it was black. And I know you all saw it too. But I'm so sorry. It's just technical difficulties. And I don't recall if we had this many difficulties when I was using my laptop. So, not quite sure about that. And I guess I need to open back up chat in my iPad. Thank you all for coming back. I appreciate that. When I actually got out of it, I thought it was my home internet, but it wouldn't let me connect to YouTube and just gave me a blank screen. I'm just going to be on for a few minutes longer. I just wanted to show my dear Jane, and then someone asked how I quilt my string quilts. So I want to answer those questions. Let me open up the chat real quick. And I know everyone will not come back. Gotta go to my videos on my iPad. I had to shut everything down. Yeah. And I hope it keeps the other video that we had. I hope it doesn't get rid of it. Okay. Hit the chat. So Vicky says she's leaving Friday for Williamsburg. Have a safe trip. Okay, so we're back again. And as with the Dear Jane, you have 56 triangles. I'm going to try to do this quick before they kick us off again. Okay, thanks, Eric, for letting me know. He said that it did keep the other video because it just abruptly put us out. So you have 56 triangles, 4 of which are your corners. And when I made mine, I actually used a different fabric in each block. Like if I used this fabric here, I didn't use it anywhere else. But some blocks require more than one fabric for the design. So if I used the 2 fabrics in that one block, then I didn't use that fabric again. So that's how I know I have 304 fabrics in the quilt. And when I got all my blocks done, that's where I left off. They tell you to set this with muslin, which is what your background pieces are. And I didn't like it. It was just too plain. And so I actually found this really pretty blue batik that I used. And actually, it's some hand quilting in here, but I am not a lover of hand quilting, and so I did not do a whole lot of it. And I do need to do more quilting to this, but I haven't washed it. I don't plan to wash it, so for right now, this is just where I am. Not a whole lot of quilting in it at all. But I do love it. I know you can't see the whole thing, but remember, ask me the question about how I string quilts. Most of the time when I'm quilting my string quilts, because my string quilts are sort of kind of straight seams, whenever I quilt something with straight seams, I would normally do something as an overlay that's curvy. Either it be meandering, spirals, swirls. So I would normally do something like that. Most of them are going to be utilitarian quilts, and I don't want to do a whole lot of custom quilting per se, unless I want something special in it. Then I may do something special if it's a quilt that I'm keeping. But most of the time, if I'm straight piecing, I do curve quilting. If I got applique, then I might do some custom quilting. It just depends on the style of what I'm quilting. Got quite a few of you back. Thank you all for coming back again. For those that didn't hear it earlier, I appreciate that. And Vicky said, how long did it take you? I actually started, I think I said 2004 and finished. Let me look again. Have to find the corner. I just put it at my foot for right now. I started it in 2004 and finished it in 2011. And I was telling them that I actually when I was working on it, I would go gun-ho. I might make 50 blocks, and then I put it up, and then other quilting projects would happen, life would happen, and then I may not work on it for a while. So it took me 7 years from start to finish to do it, and I still would like to add some more quilting, but it hasn't happened since 2011, so it probably won't happen anytime soon. But I love the process of the Dear Jane quilt, and one day I just may make another one. Who knows? Thank you, Vicky. We got Gloria here from San Antonio, Texas. First time chatting with you. Love your videos. Just found your site today. Awesome. Thank you, Gloria. Welcome to the chat. You have missed everything that we've already talked about. We got kicked off of YouTube for some reason. And I have a part 1 of this video that's actually called Patriotic Sampling. And that's where I just showed a lot of quilts. And I was just showing my Dear Jane quilt in this part, as we got kicked out when I was showing that. So if you missed the first part of this video, please go back and check the second part. I think Claudette Bettis is here, who wasn't here before. Welcome from Anaheim, California. If I'm missing anybody else, make sure I know it down below. We got Sharivia Henderson is here. She says hi, T. My brother is still here. You are awesome. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure I got everyone here. And Eric let me know that it did keep the other video, because I was concerned about that, because it wasn't doing anything on my phone. And I tried to go in on my iPad, and that's when we got the black screen. And so then I had to go back on my phone. It finally released my phone. I think I said Gloria. Yes, she was new today. We got Dr. Valerie Cruz is here. Nice. Thank you so much. Welcome to the chat. And Sharivia says she missed the first part. So make sure you go back and look at the video that says Patriotic Sampling. I'm going to retitle this, and I'll just say part 2 on that, so you'll know which one is which. Sandra says she started her Dear Jane about 3 years ago. It's put up now, but we'll get back soon. That's awesome. We got Teresa Davison here from Los Angeles, California. That is a beautiful quilt. Well, thank you so much, Teresa. Bootsy Sweetheart says YouTube is becoming an overbearing bully. I don't understand why all of this stuff is happening all of a sudden. It's like once I get past 40 minutes, all kind of things start happening on my live. And Diane 57 is saying, when do you need the blocks by? I'm asking for those that are not aware, I'm asking for birthday blocks. My birthday is July 28th. I'm asking for a string block or a crumb block. And it's due by August 11th. Those blocks will be used for charity quilts that I plan to make next year. So I may start piecing them in some of my videos here, but they'll actually be donated next year. Got Mary Lou back. We got Barbara Short here. She says, hello, T from Silverton, Oregon. Hi, welcome to the live chat, Barbara. Kim DJ says, hi, Pennsylvania, near Amish country. First time catching your live. Have watched many of your others. I found you through the Quilting Marine. Well, thank you so much, Kim. I appreciate that. I love the Quilting Marine. Gloria says, when do I do my live chat videos? We actually do the live chat videos on Wednesdays. And I start at 7 p.m. USA Central Standard Time. So that would be 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And yes, it is on Wednesdays weekly. Every once in a while, something may come up in my life where I may not be able to do a Wednesday live. And I try to let people know either through a previous video, or I will let you know on my Facebook page. So if you're not a member of Teaquilts on my Facebook page, please go over there. I do let people know when I'm not going to be available in case of emergency. Sometimes I can't get it to YouTube in a short period of time. Let's see. Dewana says, where can you get the Dear Jane quilt pattern from? That's the problem with Dear Jane. Dear Jane is actually a quilt book, and they give you an outline of the patterns, but there are no instructions. It's just the outline. Now, there are some things that you can do to get the instructions. Number one is you can use your ruler and measure out the pieces and add your 1/2 inch for your 1/4 inch seam all around. Or you can also, if you have Electric Quilt has Dear Jane version that you can open up in Electric Quilt, and then you can paper piece the blocks. They'll tell you how to rotary cut the simpler blocks. So that's another way of doing it. But the actual book itself does not have any instructions. You are mostly making templates to make those blocks. So be aware of that when you're buying that book. The same author, Brenda Papadakis, she actually has a Dear Hannah book that does the same thing as well. I have both of those books. Kim says she can't wait to make some birthday blocks. Hope you have a happy one and get lots of blocks. I hope so too, Kim, and thank you so much. Eric says, T, I'm curious, why crumb blocks and string blocks? Because I have a lot of beginners, and I didn't want to stress anybody out with not having the blocks be the correct size. Every quilter has their own 1/4 inch seam, or a lot of quilters have their own 1/4 inch seam, and sometimes blocks are not all the same size. I experienced this even with my quilting guild, and we've got advanced quilters in the group. And so I wanted to make sure I was able to use everybody's block, and I didn't want anybody to feel intimidated by saying, I don't sew very well, I'm not comfortable with my 1/4 inch seam, will you still take my block? With a string or crumb block, you don't have to worry about your seam being perfect. I can use anything. And I see Eric says, my 1/4 inch is like 0.249999999. Okay. And that's what it should be. Because I don't think anybody is perfectly sewing 1/4 inch all the time. Like, you know, every seam that you sew all the way through is going to be a perfect 1/4 inch. But I try to get as close as I can. So we have, like, vacationing, although you couldn't stay away from all of us. Yes, I intended to, before I even had issues with my brother being ill, I had planned to do some taping. I had planned this trip in March. So I knew I was going to show you something, but I wasn't going to cancel my Wednesday unless the hotel didn't have good internet service. And it was pretty adequate. I just didn't want to stay on long there. But yes, I intended to vlog on my vacation. Andrea says, my next quilt is going to be a crumb quilt. I just love string and crumb quilts, and it's a quick way to make a block. You don't have to go out and buy anything. That's another reason that I picked that, because some people don't have a large fabric stash, and I didn't want anybody to go out and buy something to make a block. Make it work. If you only got Christmas fabrics, make a Christmas block. Have fun with it, and you don't have to be so precise with the sewing. Mary Lou says, hey T, I have my crumb block done. It was a bit difficult for me. I would make a strip block that I like to make. Okay, either one. You can still send it. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's all going to work out in the end. And then Paint and Stamp asks, is Electric Quilt worth the money? I paid $100, I think, for Electric Quilt, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere in that neighborhood. And that's because I bought a version of Electric Quilt eons ago. I think my first version may have been version 4, where I paid the full price. And then the nice thing I like about Electric Quilt is no matter how much they change the software, If you are a registered user, being that you bought the program and you registered, then they will give you half off of the price. So I'm not ever paying full price for electric quilt upgrades. So for me, yes, I love electric quilt. I actually do a lot of designing in electric quilt. If you are uncomfortable with numbers, but you want to design your own quilts, you put in, they've got all of your standard quilt blocks already in electric quilt for you. And then you just put them, you select that block and it will tell you all the cut pieces you need. Or if it's a paper piece block, it will go and print the foundation patterns for you. So I think it's well worth it, but you have to actually use it. It's just like anything in quilting. If you buy something and you don't use it, then no, it's not worth it. But if you're going to use it, then it's very much worth it. And so, again, I've been using it since version 4 is when I was introduced to it. And I have the version 8, so I think it's well worth it. And I love version 8. It's a lot easier to do things over the previous versions as well. Reading more comments. Crumb quilts are very beautiful. Love them. That's from Judy. Hi, Judy. Vicky said, you said 11 inch. Yes, so 11 inch size. And then I want to square them down to 10 and a half. And that's another thing because I didn't want to intimidate my beginners. So I am trying to make this as easy as possible. That's why I picked those particular blocks. Lauren King says she just purchased EQ8. Lauren, was it your first version of EQ8? I was looking, I see people were talking about the Quilting Marine that they sent in a block. And I saw where a couple of people had sent in the block that I made. So that was really cute. I watched a lot of his block reveals. It was pretty awesome. Sharivia says, I love crumb quilts and did 8 blocks Monday. That's pretty cool. I like doing them in batches as well. Like I'll chain piece. So I might start like 3 or 4 blocks. And then I'll just keep adding on as I go. I do like chain piecing, stuff like that. Because it's just brainless piecing. And you can actually do it while you're watching television. Believe it or not. Diane 57 says, where will the quilts be going? I'm hoping that I might donate them to this women's shelter that my guild is doing them for. So I may make them all twin size. And the reason why I say that is because our guild is trying to get 24 quilts for this home. They're just starting up, so they don't have any bedding. And the reason why I thought even if our guild gave them 24, I thought sometimes things happen where you have to change the bedding spontaneously, or if it's wash day, you might want to just go ahead and remake the quilts remake the beds and put on another quilt over having to wait and wash all the quilts and then try to get all the beds made later. Because I'm one of those people that if I'm making my bed, I just prefer to take it all off and put the other stuff on and be done with that. And then it takes you hours to wash the bedding. So I'm hoping that I can donate some more quilts to them so they'll have a spare set of quilts. Let's see. Vicky says, we are taking 2 sewing machines with us for 2 weeks. That's fun. I would take 2 sewing machines too. If I'm going away for 2 weeks and I plan to sew. Vicky says, I have EQ6 and never set it up. Oh my gosh. Then I bought EQ8 at a show in Paducah in April. Have you used it, Vicky? What is the best price now? I think I saw it for $249. I thought that EQ gave people that already have it a half price. So I thought it was somewhere around $200. But you can check with Electric Quilt online. Make sure, because you can also buy it from them online if it's cheaper. you will not have the actual CD, but they'll give you a file to download. They're going to give you a licensed software, and they're going to give you a user password. So I would check with the actual source, because if you're getting it from a store, they could be upping the price to make a profit as well. But I don't know that for sure. Let's see. Sarah says, yep, T can fix your blocks. I'm a beginner. She will have to fix mine, I'm sure, laughing out loud. I am not fixing. Those blocks are going to be perfect because they don't have to be 1/4 inch seams. They can have curvy seams. Everything you send to me on these particular type of blocks, I will be using. Guaranteed. That's why I picked it. Bootsy says that my 1/4 inch depends on which glasses I'm wearing. That's funny. Valerie says, actually, I have an OQ somewhere. I have to find it. Are you talking about EQ, electric quilt? Marine must be busy sewing all those blocks together. You're right. He did get some people that were willing to sew the sashings and border onto the quilts and finish them. So he's probably making packets to be mailed. That's probably what he's doing, because he's not here tonight. I think you guys probably sent him over 400 blocks the last time I looked. I can't remember the final number. I want to say 25 quilts, but I could be mistaken. And then somebody actually sent a completed quilt in as well. So he's got a lot. That was just really awesome. Let's see. Teresa says, I paid $169 on Amazon about a month ago for EQ8. So that's a good source for you. If you're looking for it, try Amazon first, because you're still going to get the same software, and it just doesn't matter where you buy it from. Just get it at the cheapest price you can get it. Dewana says her block was in quilt 3 for the Quilting Marine. I can't remember if mine was 6 or 7, but I did see my block come in. Wanda J says, hello, T. Yes, I saw lots of those blocks from me. Mailed you a block this morning. Awesome, Wanda. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's going to be fun to go to the post office and pick those up. Bootsy says she has EQ5. It doesn't like Windows 10, but it does just what I need. I have to buy EQ8. I am worth it. I think version 5 was more difficult to me than 6 or 7. I think every version they got a little better, but this 8 interface is totally different than the other interface. So if you can afford to upgrade and you know you're going to use it, then I definitely recommend upgrading to version 8. At some point, I'm going to start doing some real basic things in there, because sometimes when you open it up, it's so simple, stuff is right in your face that you miss it. And so I think I'm going to do some very basic EQ videos, not any of the advanced stuff to start. Maybe I'll do some advanced stuff later on, but I plan to do that. But I also want to do some recording for some of the embellishment things, and I may not actually do the embellishments in the video, but just throw out what quilt embellishments are, because I don't have time to actually do all the samples for that. But I will start doing some series on quilt embellishments as well. We got, let's see, my screen moved on me. Gloria's got to go. Bye, Gloria. Didn't mean to ask so many questions about electric quilt, but I really appreciate your helpful information. Any question on my channel is okay. If you're not understanding it, if I didn't explain it right, it's okay to keep asking. I will keep answering. That's what I'm here for. Where do we send the blocks to? Up under any video, I have my mailing address. It's 1100. Oh, it's a 11001 Dunklin Drive, but it's under my video. St. Louis, Missouri, 63138. It's there. I can't paste it there because, let me see if I can. It's not, let me put the down arrow. Yeah, so I just put the down arrow on this video for the comment section. It's got my name there. My box, my P.O. box is all there. See if I can cut and paste it. If it'll let me. I'm on my iPad, and I have an old iPad. I actually have the iPad 2. But it works, so I haven't redone it. Thank you, Teresa, for doing that for me, because my iPad was not cooperating. So the address is down in the chat box as well, but under the description of any of my videos, I do have my contact information up under any video. So let me go back up and make sure. She says, T, you and your hubby can come 2 bedrooms. Where are you? You've been talking to people, but I've been trying not to. I haven't been looking. You're funny. I can't go anywhere right now. I got to make videos. I do have, I think, like 4 videos for the t-shirt quilt recorded. I think I did like 3.5 before I left. And then I had to finish, maybe I did 2.5, and then I had to finish one off before I left, and then I started another one, but I don't have any of those edited. But in the next few days, you will be getting instructions for making the A blocks. You need 2 A blocks, and I'll be putting that out as soon as I get it edited. So be ready for that, those that are participating. And let's see. Oh, Teresa says that the Quilting Marine is at 29 quilts. That's amazing. Vicky says, ask and you shall receive. Diane's was in 13 and 17. K block was in number 19. Claudette says, hi T, mail my string blocks today. Thank you, Claudette. You are so awesome. And Diane M was helping with the address as well. Thank you so much. And Mary Lou asks, what is EQ? That is so funny. EQ is a shortened name for electric quilt. Electric quilt. You can Google that. It's actually a software program that you can purchase. It helps you to design quilt blocks, so you can set up your entire quilt before you even do any stitching and know exactly how it's going to look. It's great for people that want to design their own quilts, but I also think it's great for beginners that are not, or people that are not great with math, because it has the very basic blocks in there. You can make that block any size you want, and then you can tell it to print the rotary cutting instructions, and it will tell you exactly what to cut from which fabric and everything. It's awesome, but you have to use it, and it does take a little learning curve, but I think this version is the easiest version that they have ever put out. They actually redid the entire interface. Oh, so Vicky is going to Williamsburg on vacation. You can make videos there. I gotta have money to get there too. And that's a whole nother issue. I had to, I had my family, my brother didn't have life insurance. And so he had just lost his job, so he lost his health insurance. He had lost his life insurance because he couldn't work anymore. And so my family, we had to pitch in and pay for his services as well. So I am watching my pennies right now. I'm okay. So don't send me money. But I am just making sure that, you know, I always like to have my safety net where I'm comfortable. So I'm just watching my pennies. And I already had this trip planned. So I'm going to do that. And I'm still going to Houston to visit with you, Eric. So I'm coming. So don't think I'm canceling that. I just have to get my flight. I was trying to decide if I could get... I can't get anybody else here to go with me. And if I get somebody here to go with me, I would like to drive down so that I can stop at quilt shops along the way, like do a 2-day trip. But if I don't, then I'm just going to have to go ahead and fly because I can't drive that. I don't want to be on the highway that long by myself. So let's see. Vicky says 2A blocks for what? For the t-shirt quilt sew along, the Harley Treads quilt. June says that she has her blocks done, just need to get them in the mail, maybe tomorrow or early. It's so hot here, it takes your breath away when you go outside. June, you can wait and mail them. I'm okay with that. Don't go out if it's very hot. Our weather is in the 90s, but when I was in Puerto Vallarta, it was like in the 96s or something, and I was still outside by the pool, in the pool. So I've kind of gotten used to that heat. So this is nothing now. It was hot there in Mexico. Laughing out loud, he thought 10 at first. Yes. Eric says, so Miss T, what's the best part of my trip? I went to an all-inclusive resort, and I will have to say that that was really nice because I didn't have to worry about being in a place I had never visited before where I had to figure out what to eat. And I am somewhat of a foodie. My family has a lot of gourmet chefs in it. My brother that just passed was one. My mom and my sister, and I have another brother. So 2 brothers, a sister, and my mother are cook professionally, and they love to cook. I cook out of necessity. I can cook, but I'm not a person that just want to go crazy with it. So, yeah, I would say the food was really good. In the they have like an buffet area where you could eat all of your meals. And they had a good variety of things. So you had something for everybody that you can eat. They had healthy offerings. They had vegetarian offerings as well. They had a lot of tofu food dishes. What I did like on top of that with the food is that they had other restaurants that you had to reserve for dinner. And so they had 2 Italian restaurants, 1 French, 1 Japanese, 2 Italian, a Mediterranean. So that was the last one. They had 5 different restaurants, but you had to reserve for that. The only thing I didn't like about the reserving was that they wouldn't let you reserve for your time there. You had to go every day from 2 to 5 to go reserve for the next day. So it was a little cumbersome with that because you had to remember, you had to stop doing what you were doing to go get yourself scheduled for dinner the next day. But in those restaurants, all but one, the food was just fantastic in there. It was awesome. I did. Another thing I like is that we went on an excursion for the day on Sunday. And I did videotape that part. And where did we go? We went to the port where the ships come in. We visited the church there. It was just beautiful. It was a Catholic church. They are 90% Catholic there in Mexico. And then we went to the flea market, to a jeweler, and then they took us into a place where we were going to taste tequila. But before we went there, we stopped at this little hole-in-a-wall restaurant that was on the street that you would walk right past if you didn't know it was a restaurant. And those people had fresh seafood. It was so good. They brought out a platter, and the platter fed 2 people, and they were real-size platters. They're not these new platters that are real small, but the food was really awesome. So I'm a foodie. I if the food is good, I love to eat. I don't eat stuff if it's bad, because I'm like, if I'm gonna gain weight, I at least want to enjoy it. So that was a good thing for me, all inclusive. And then I just love the resort. The resort was very good. It was Crown Paradise Golden, and they have a Crown Paradise. The difference between Paradise and Paradise Golden is that it was an adult only resort. So I was at the adult only resort. But yeah, I enjoyed that entire trip. It was just nice to get away. Is it okay to send you more than one block? Sure, you can send whatever you like. She says, hop in our car. Vicky, you're not even my direction. I'm going to have to meet some of you all for sure. So I'm hoping some of you are going to Houston. And Mary Lewis just thanking for the explanation. What kind of computer do you need? Are you talking about this is from Dewana. You're talking about to run electric quilt? Yes, she's talking about for EQ. So you need to have Windows 10 is what I'm thinking. I don't know if it'll work on Windows 8. It might work on Windows 8, but if you go to Electric Quilt's website, you can look at the system requirements. I'm thinking since it was made on Windows 10, that it will probably run best on Windows 10. And then as they update Windows, it'll work for a few years. Like my software that's 20 years old will not work on Windows 10. So I would recommend having Windows 10. Eric say, bring some pound cake. That's funny. I did find out because I brought a couple pieces of pound cake because I made it for my brother's services. And do you know that when you have food items that your bags get searched? Because they have to make sure that it's not any other contaminant that you're trying to sneak in and out of the country. I didn't know that. At the hutch. I have no idea what you all are talking about. And Teresa says, I love to eat. Laughing out loud. Inclusive is the way to go. Yes, because the only meal I paid for was the meal that I ate when we were out on the excursion. And I just tipped the people for, providing the food and providing the drinks. And it just made it easier over me trying to figure out where I was going to eat for every meal if I had to go outside the resort to eat. So I didn't want to be nickeled and dimed inside, but I don't mind tipping. She says, make pound cake with caramel sauce. It's caramel icing. I just might make a pound cake. If I have time, we'll see. That's in November. Sharivia saying, who make the pound cake? These guys have been chatting with me for a while, and so we were talking about how good my pound cake was, and so they are fantasizing about this lemon pound cake with caramel icing. Vicky said, did you get fleas? And while in Mexico, I didn't. I got a lot of tequila. We actually went to a place that had us sampling tequila. I really don't drink tequila straight or like as the main part of a drink. I drink more fruity drinks that might have some tequila in it. But I'm not a real drinker. But I did taste about 3 or 4 different tequilas. A couple of them had coffee flavor, and so I don't do regular coffee because I don't want the caffeine. It will give me a headache, so I didn't taste those, but I did taste the tequila. Tequila that's 11 months or less, burn your throat when you drink it. But the tequila that's rested, which they say is 10 years or more, goes down very smooth. And all of the flavored tequilas went down smooth. It was really good. But I didn't bring back any tequila. Vicky said, come on, T, let's go to Houston together. Vicky, where are you located? I thought you were... Vicky, you're funny. She's cutting up again. She says she's asking me about the fleas because I went to the flea market. Okay, now I'm hungry for real. Foods and, yeah, all food and drink was included. I think, just want to clarify that. Got somebody asking, where's Ray? Eric's asking for you, Ray. Her pound cake is so good, even her brother gave it a seal of approval. Bootsy says there's a turtle rescue organization at one of the hotels. You can release a baby turtle at sunset to begin its challenging life. Probably wasn't at mine, or if I don't think it was at mine. But there is a lot of hotels in that area. That area is basically operating off of tourism. So when it's hurricane season and people are basically struggling there, so they love when they can get tourism to come in, and they really want people to come all year, but they do understand that people are not going to plan a vacation most likely unless you've got some form of a timeshare, which they all tried to sell us timeshares. Everybody we met was trying to sell us a timeshare, but we didn't get it. Eric, my brother, says I'm still here, but I don't have no cake right now. Alrighty. So, yes. I have to visit the cheesecake. You have to visit the Cheesecake Factory? I don't even like cheesecake. But I do love the Cheesecake Factory. I love their food. And Teresa says, boy, I did when I was there. She got 4 bottles. See, I'm not really a drinker, and my husband isn't a drinker. So, I just didn't want to go through the hassle of bringing back the alcohol. And plus, our luggage was like packed, because I was trying to only have us take 2 suitcases, and I should have had us take a carry-on as well, because our big luggage was over 50 pounds, and then we had to open it up and stuff some stuff into our backpack that had our electronics in there. So next time I know to just go ahead and take 1 carry-on to get away from the 50-pound thing. And she says it's near the Hard Rock. Okay, I didn't actually see the Hard Rock. I did see the Senior Turtles Club, which I thought was a funny club. That was pretty funny. And it was also ironic because it's also on the Harley Treads t-shirt quilt that I'm making. So that's why I was saying last time when I was asking you all to guess, I said I've already put it on Teaquilts where I'm going. It was just ironic. This guy, most of his shirts were from this area. We have baby turtles here, Vicky says. Thumbs up, everyone. Don't forget. Eric's asking Ray if he's ate it already. That cake, Ray and his wife was the culprit. I'll say that. At the services, took like a quarter of the cake. And I had like a half sheet pan of, it was a big cake. There isn't any cake left. To my Eric, we need to plan for when she comes down. You know, if I bring a cake, I think I can bring, like, I'll bring a 2-layer cake. It's not going to be a big one, like an 8-inch 2-layer cake. I think I can bring that as a carry-on if they let me. If not, it's going to be in the trash at the airport. Hello, everyone. is. She's late due to power outage. And she says, cheesecake, you say? She comes right in when it's time to talk about the food. Eric says, alcohol and pretty much all liquids gets confiscated when you travel international. Yeah, Senior Frog, Vicky says, the name of that restaurant. Eric says, oh, Ray, you're in the clear. Alrighty, so I've gone through most of the comments. I think I've answered all questions that was asked about the block challenge, and I didn't see any other questions tonight on any other topic. So if I missed anything, hurry up and pop it into the chat box. I noticed some people also think that they're chatting with me and they're actually leaving a comment under the video, and I don't see those until the video go live. So if you're doing that, I do apologize for that. But if you're trying to chat with the rest of us, you've got to be in the chat section, not the comment section. Just a clarity on that. Vicky says, we aren't going to go on a drive to Houston together. We aren't going to go on a drive to Houston together and go quilt shops. Vicky, where are you from? Are you close to Missouri? You got me confused. Hi, Tanya Lee from Australia. We're just about to end here. I have a part 1 and part 2 of the video today. The part 1 is called Patriotic Sampling, and then I'll be relabeling this video once it goes live. We got kicked off earlier tonight. I actually showed a lot of patriotic quilts over there, or some of my patriotic quilts, not necessarily a lot. Oh, she's in Southern Illinois. Okay, that's why you keep saying that. Okay. All righty. Maybe we need to talk, Vicky. You have to email me, though. I can't contact you. You have to contact me, and then we can talk about that, because I would love to drive down so we can make some stops. Drive down to Houston and on the way pick T up. It depends on how far south she is. I may have to pick her up. So we're going to talk about that, because I love to have a car buddy. Cheryl says, laughing out loud, take lots of selfies with the delicious cake. Did you get my email before you left? Okay, I need to look, because I've only gone back through like the last week of emails. So if I'm missing any emails, I apologize. I will go look at that. Shrivy is asking, what is a pineapple block? Diane saying 57 says she's 40 minutes south of Houston. So she doesn't have far to go at all. Sharivia, what is a pineapple block? Very difficult to explain without having it here in my face. But basically, an easy way of doing it is you basically have an on-point square. Well, no, it's actually a 8-sided shape. It's hard to explain. I tell you what, I do have a block that I made and I made my pineapple block by making all squares. So I'll either do a video on that, or I'll have it for you next week at the next live. How about that? Because a pineapple block is very hard to describe if I don't have one to show you right here. So I will either make a video for you, or I will have a block next week. How about that? Thank you for asking, though. Sorry I can't answer right off, because I'll just confuse you even more. Okay, Vicky says I have her address and phone number. Okay, so I'll call you. Are you available during the day, Vicky? Okay, so I'll try to call you tomorrow. It'll be a 314 area code number. Yeah, so Diane is trying to help you out, Sharifah. She says lots of pieces made in rounds like a log cabin. But the thing is, it kind of, when you go do the rounds, you kind of adding on to the corners too. So you end up with 8 sides. And that's what's a little confusing if you don't know what the block is, Sharifah. So I will try to do something for you to make sure that that's updated. So that's going to be it tonight, people. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate my quilting peeps. And I will see you next week live. In a couple of days, I should have up the A blocks for the Harley Treads quilt. And you'll need 2 A blocks. So I'll see you all then. And don't forget to thumbs up the video. I appreciate it. And I will see you next week live. Bye-bye, everybody. Susan says, later, Gators. And I see your comments. I see your comments, Sharivia, so I'll do something for you for sure.